Hey, what's up, guys? Alan Bishop from the One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute here, the alchemist of the Black Forest, again to answer your questions about the art of distillation, whether it be at home or in a commercial distillery. There's always something else to learn, another plateau to get to, another level to get to with the art of distillation, and I'm more than happy to help with whatever knowledge I have to get you to whatever your next level may or may not be, presuming you can get there. If you don't get there, you obviously may not get there. You know what the fuck I'm saying. Anyways, as always, reach out to me, bishopshomegrown@gmail.com, or on any of my social media, or in the comments on YouTube at the One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute channel. For those of you who may have listened to the If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything podcast, our paranormal supernatural podcast that's now currently available on Anchor and Spotify. We are working on episodes 2 and 3 right now, and we're about to go on to a lot of other platforms as well and get this thing out there where more and more people can hopefully hear it. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you guys have any cool paranormal stories, and not just little things, right, but a real story that could be told that you think is interesting, reach out to me, talk to me. Maybe we can do something with you. Maybe I can tell your story on the podcast, potentially have you on, whatever you want to do, but it's a possibility. This is something I'm very serious about, something I enjoy very, very much, and for me, I see no division between, for example, what I do here, what I do on Distillers Talk, what I do for a living, and that particular podcast, because to me it's all spirituality. So moving into this week's question, or today's question I should say, I've been doing like 3 of these a week, so surely it'll either not be the last one this week, or if it is, it's not the only one this week. Again, whatever. Just got off the lawnmower, my brain's a little frazzled for whatever fucked up reason, so probably shook something loose, but today's question from Josh Constantine. Hey Alan, I was reading about the blackberry brandy that y'all make, and the description says it's proof down over weeks to avoid saponification. Could you explain that a little, and if it's something practical for a home distiller? I looked it up, and it was a bunch of sciencey stuff that was talking about soap. So what Josh is talking about here is the blackberry eau de vie that we made at my commercial distillery several years ago. And we talk about saponification a lot at the distillery that I work at, on tours and also on the website. Talk about it a lot on Distillers Talk. It's something that's not a well understood concept even amongst professional distillers, unless you have a certain level of involvement. So here we're going to presume that most people who watch my channel are big pot still distillers, right? Whatever version of a pot still you run, with a thumper or even a pot with a column on it, like a hybrid still or double pot still distillation, whatever. And what's the one thing that we know pot stills are exquisite at? They are great at retention and concentration of flavor. That flavor obviously being positive or negative, as we talked about in the past. And the way you tune and run your still, giving you the ability to pick out those compounds, subsequently those flavors that you want to keep. Now, every part of distillation is equally important, right? Fermentation, crazy important, and insane to me that so many people overlook fermentation. There's so many options there and so many chances to make something great or really fuck it up, right? It's only equal to what you put in, what you get out, no matter how good of a distiller you are. Now, if you want to challenge yourself and you want to distill your neighbor's vinegar wine, go for it. Knock yourself out. Maybe you can find a section of liquor in there that's palatable, but it's not the way to do it, at least in my opinion. You can fuck it up during distillation. If you don't understand cuts, you don't understand the speed of distillation, you don't understand obtention temperatures, and those sort of things, there's certainly things you can do to mess things up during the distillation as well, and it's equally important to fermentation in my opinion. You have to be good at the brewing sciences and the distilling sciences both. Now, you've made it through both those phases, you can still fuck it up by proofing down too quickly. So, saponification is a soap making term. It is actually the process used to make soap from lye using a chemical reaction. Now, have you ever noticed that when you're proofing down your liquor off of a pot still, you're checking it with a hydrometer, and then also checking it with a thermometer because hydrometers are calibrated, or even if you do it by sight and feel, you ever notice when you add water to it pretty quickly, it heats up? It also tends to go a little bit cloudy. It'll clear up a lot of times, but it will go cloudy, especially if that water and that alcohol are 2 different temperatures. The reason for that is because you're getting a chemical reaction, which is called saponification. Now, in certain products, this isn't a big deal. In sugar shines, there's not enough long-chain fatty acids. So what is used I think I said lye earlier, I meant lard. So what is used to make soap? Fats, lards and oils, things of that nature, right? Castile soap would be olive oil. There's alternatives that are sunflower oil, but typically the old-fashioned soap was lard. You're using lye to get a reaction. The exact same reaction you get when you add water to alcohol, because those long-chain fatty lipids, those fatty acids. Now in a sugar shine, there's not enough of them there that even if you do get a little saponification, that you're likely to notice them. In an all grain, you may notice them, particularly if you have some grains in there that do tend to have some longer chain fatty acids. Some of the colored corns in particular, oats for sure will saponify if you're not very careful with them. And what you'll notice is they might have a little bit of a soapy smell. They might have a little bit of a soapy taste. Now, the big guys running low rec column stills, they don't extract as many of those long chain fatty acids during distillation. A, because it's all about time spent under heat, as we talked about with pot still distillation before. But B, they do something called chill filtration, or many of them do, not all of them. It's not as popular as it once was. But let's say at one of the big distilleries, they're in a hurry. They've got, 15, 20, whatever pallets of product they got to get out the door. Their product is setting at, let's say, 125 proof for shits and giggles coming out of the barrel. It's got to be proofed down to 80 proof. They drop all their water in at one time, right? Saponification happens. So chill filtration is a twofold thing where they will chill the liquor down to the 30 degree, somewhere in the 30, 35, 37 degree mark, depending on the brand and the product. That causes those long chain fatty acids to fall out of suspension, and then they'll run it through a filter to pull those out. They do this for two reasons. The first one is to fix any saponification that may or may not have happened during that proofing process. And the second is that so in the wintertime, when it gets cold in certain markets, you don't have those long chain fatty acids falling out of suspension in the bottle. If you ever take a bottle of liquor, particularly all grain or true brandy, and put it in the freezer or the refrigerator, let it get real cold, you'll see some globules fall out of it. That's your long chain fatty acids. You shake it up, it goes back into suspension. It's where a lot of your flavor is, right? I myself am not a fan of chill filtration, so I have to avoid this at my distillery, and I'm certainly not a fan of saponification. So with brandies in particular, because there are so many long chain fatty acids, particularly in apple brandy, it is very important to very slowly proof that down, regardless of whether it's a white spirit or a brown spirit. Take your time with it. And what do I mean by take your time with it? I'll give you an example. At Spirits of French Lick, we put all of our brandies in the barrel at still strength, meaning they go into the barrel at usually 135 on average for our hearts. When they come out of the barrel, they've raised in proof a lot of times to about the 140, 141 mark. I will blend the barrels together, put them in a tank. I will oxygenate that tank, and I will drop my proof points maybe 5 or 6 points a week until I get to where I'm going. So if I need to be at 100 proof for bottled and bond, I've got to come down from 141. It's going to take several weeks. You don't have to go that slow. I choose to go that slow. You can maybe proof your brandy down over a couple of days. With an all grain whiskey, take a good day to proof it down, right? Proof it down a few proof points here, wait a couple hours, come back, proof it down a few more proof points, etc. It will make a world of difference in your liquor. And if you never noticed that soap note before, you're going to notice it now because I pointed it out to you. Probably something that didn't occur to you, or if you did notice it, you probably didn't know what it was. So that's why we talk about saponification with our brandies. We also do it with our whiskeys too. The whiskeys, again, like I said, they're not generally as bad as the brandies are, but they certainly can be. In sugar shine, again, there's not enough real long chain fatty acids in there to cause a huge issue, although it wouldn't hurt to take your time with sugar shine as well. Anyways, that's kind of the long and short of saponification. One other thing I want to mention, I mentioned the apple brandy. So you even take grape brandies the same way, but if you were to go to France, for example, and you were to look at cognac, they age, or they mature a little bit differently. They have a system called élevage, which literally relates to the raising of children. So their barrels go through élevage. And part of that élevage is that instead of proofing down before they go into the barrel, they may go into the barrel, and then over a number of years, as that barrel evaporates, they top it up with water, proofing it down slowly over decades, right? That is a real art form right there. But think about how you can do it on your scale. You don't have to do it that way, right? You think about it with white spirits and brown spirits, right? This is just going to up your game a little bit, guys. This is one of the biggest things I've ever learned about the art of true distillation. Hope you enjoyed. I hope this helps you out. I love y'all. I'll see you soon.